Hello again, and welcome to our this week's live, again with Vishal and myself. Hi Vishal, how are you today?
I'm good. Back in office. Yes, working on a few things at the moment. Need to go and see a client after that. So yeah, his drawings are ready for a discussion. So feeling good.
Amazing. We have a specific topic today, but before we jump in, is there anything at the moment you have in mind that happened which could be special to mention here and to share with the audience?
Ooh.
If you don't know it now, maybe it's come
No, no,
later.
no, 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 no. There's always you just need to reflect back and see what actually happened. Um, I'll share something about you know people who run their own business. Yeah, is the power of networking. So I was in a networking event in Liverpool yesterday, okay, which finished very very late. It was a property related networking, and there's a lady came there from Australia, yeah, and
Ooh.
yeah. So after many many years, she's moved back to UK now and things. She's working on properties, and lots of things were new for her as well. And she was looking to connect with people and so and asking people, how do you do things and stuff. So I think everybody was sharing their experience. And how I actually ended up in that event is about 2.5 years ago. I went to a property networking event in Manchester. I bumped into somebody. She was doing quite a lot of HMO properties and things in Liverpool. She invited me to have a look at one of them. I explained that how I work with my clients. She explained how what she's working on. She really liked what I proposed. And she said, next time I'm working, I'd love to work with you. It took us 2 years for her to work with me, and now I'm working on a project with her. Then she was hosting that event. She made an invite, so I was there. So the point I'm trying to make here is every business owner who's running their own business, it's very good to go out and meet new people. Okay, but meeting new people should not be like, go and give me work.
It's a good
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
that's what people just think, saying if I go and do one networking, they should start giving me work, and they get disappointed if they don't get work. I'm like, no. Okay, so networking is more of farming than fishing. So yeah, I would like
It's
to
a
say
really good
that.
advice. Thank you for sharing this. And I love it because it's really about the long-term relationship and the meaningful relationship. And I love that as well, working with you and seeing how you building this relationship with your clients. So it's
Yeah,
great to see.
absolutely.
And 2 years, it's a long time if you just go there to fish with this mindset.
Yeah.
Like it's like 2 years is a long time, but if you build it up, then it comes
Yeah.
or comes not.
Yeah, no, but if from that networking, to be honest, 2 days ago, somebody actually sent me an email for an inquiry down south and towards London side, working on a project that came from the same event as well. But
Cool.
it happens.
You never know.
You never know. You never know.
That's amazing. Okay, so today we are talking about future-proofed properties and basically, especially when you live in a house, how you make sure you make this house future-proof. Meaning, we all know that our life circle is on different stages.
Yeah,
So, single, married, maybe. In general, I'm just saying something. It's not obviously not related to everybody,
yeah,
but single, married, kids, you're getting old, maybe you get the parents in different stages. You work in an office, then you work from home. Different things are happening. So you buy a house. Often people buy the house once in their lifetime, and they buy their house on an early stage. How do they make their house and home future proof in your eyes?
hmm.
I know it's a really wide question,
It's a
so
right question. Yeah, yeah, it is.
have fun to fill it.
Is look, when people buy a house, sometimes they don't want to do a work straight away because they have just used all the money and all the savings, the mortgage, what they can afford, all gone in the house. They got nothing left to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, but sometimes people go, right, okay, I'm purchasing this property, and after that, I'm going to have £50,000, £60,000. I'm working on a project where the client's got a £200,000 budget after purchasing just over £500,000 property. Yeah, so, which is great. But so it changes case by case. But to give you an example, how you can make it future proof is, and this is something we do, is when we get a client, when they ask us to start doing something for them, understanding what is their end goal. Yeah, what is their immediate goal, right? They purchase this property, so let's just make up a story. If they want to work from home, husband and wife both work from home, they need separate spaces because they don't want to be working on top of a dining table 8 hours a day while they're on a call. They, two different calls running at the same time, that's not possible. So how do we adapt to that? But at the same time, my second question with them will be, do you have any kids? The answer is no. Are you going to have any kids? How the space will suddenly start changing. Okay, and that's something people do not understand. They go like, I bought this house, I need two working from home spaces, where we're going to get them? My question is, right, what's going to happen in 2 years down the line when you start having kids, when they're running around and somebody's on a call? Oh, we didn't thought of that. So don't you think your one of your working from home space needs to be going up on the first floor or into the loft or something where you have a complete quiet space? So maybe your wife might work from home part time, but you need to work full time. You are up in the loft, so you're not being disturbed by the kids. So those are the kind of the things, and I would say 95% of the people do not think that way. But all of these things comes naturally when I'm speaking to the client and understanding. So my first visit, when the client says yes and we're working, so they want to start talking about the design, and I go like, look, I'm measuring up the property, walk around with me, and I'm asking all of these questions, I'm digesting them in my head. So when we actually sit down to design, I know what those challenges are and where their life is actually heading and what are the future problems they will be facing. Okay, so this is how we do it. So give an example, working with a client last week, how the property is situated. They park the car at the back of the house and then they walk in. So literally the back of the house is going to become a main entrance for the family to enter into the house. The guests and other people will still come from the front, but from them, the back of the house will become that. And it's very vital to, when you are in the kitchen, you should be able to see that who's parking the car and who's coming in, because that driveway is actually open to public as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So providing a window on such a location where you're not looking out into the driveway, but you're keeping an eye at what's happening out there as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. But with the design, I was able to. The client was like, "No, why do you need a window there? It can be just all wall and some cupboards and space." I was like, "No, no, no. This is the reasoning behind it." So I was able to explain that a little bit. When they were like, "Oh, that's a good idea." So just future proofing and things, little things like that. So yeah.
It's
So that's
amazing that
one example I gave you.
it's amazing that how you connect the dots. And I just coming from a networking event today and listened to an interior designer. So it's quite, and she gave this this picture of, if you dress up for an event, well, I think that women can relate more to that right now than men, but men has to dress up as well. So, but women don't only think about the dress; they think about the shoes, the bag, the hairstyle, the makeup, the jewelry, everything. So you're not dressing up for an event, only pick one piece. So you have the whole thing in mind. And she obviously took this example for her work as an interior designer, which was really interesting, because usually I don't pick my furniture like this. But in future, when I create a room, and I have this in mind, but it's the same thing you're doing as well. You have the big picture in mind. And obviously, it's a little bit more thinking in the future how your life could be. But it's the big picture of how your life can turn out in each direction and make this house suitable doesn't matter in any direction it goes.
Yeah.
So what, one question about this. So it's a couple, both work from home, they need office spaces, and you make this, and now they think, okay, I have kids maybe in 2 years down the line, and I need 2 more spaces as well. What they are doing then with the spaces right now. So how you can, how you make the balance between having enough space and being flexible for all the future steps coming, but not wasting the space or not having enough space that you have to pay for as well. Where do you make the balance, and how you find the solutions there?
No, it can be. It's just making sure the client is actually aware of those things which are about to come.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because having experience is working over 500 projects, I know what is around the corner for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So making sure client is aware of those. Okay, where that space is going to be landing up in the house, and how these 2 rooms from working from home will come. I don't know, but making sure the client knows them right now. Yeah. So when the child is born and things, so maybe one of the room upstairs, which is your box room, is dedicated for now work from home space, and the downstairs is another space. So later on, the upstairs space will become the baby's room. So one person is free because they're not working. So downstairs is free, and then potentially going into the loft or utilizing some other space into the spare bed, into the other bedroom, and putting a desk there, or doing something. It all depends on the projects again, but understanding those things much earlier
Mm-hmm.
helps them to make that decision. Because when people look to extend or doing things, they have something in their head. They go like, this is what I want. I'm
That's
like,
true.
yes, I
And this
get
is
it,
good.
this is what you want,
Yeah.
but have you thought about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if I've shared that recently. I'm working with a couple at the moment, and inquiry came through a structural engineer who wanted to take a wall down, and he didn't see the layout working. So he got me on board. I went to see the client and this, that. So cutting the whole story short, he's like, I always thought he's going to have a nice, lovely kitchen with a big island. But when he sits on the island and he looks out into his garden, he's going to have a big wall in front of him.
Oh.
Yeah. He said,
Not really
I always
inspiring.
thought, I always thought, how's the big wall's going to look in front of me? I'm like, but it can be moved. Or you can remove it and make this bigger. Oh, can I? I said, yeah, you do it this way. Oh, I never thought it was possible. Yes, it is possible. You tell me what you're thinking. And imagine this person spent 35, 40, 50K in his house, getting a new kitchen, refurbishing everything, and enjoying a cup of coffee, looking into his garden, but you can't see a garden, see a blank wall. So I'm like, I'm glad you told me about it, because we can do something about it. Yeah.
This
So
is,
don't
yeah.
design in your head, get some advice. Hopefully, we can help.
It's really like, if you are not working in this industry, and if you're not having this imagination, and some people do, some people don't,
Yeah.
it's really helpful. Like the same thing, like, get a coach, doesn't matter for anything. If you have how to style, how to get your interior designs, whatever, in business, in a life coach, whatever, in which part. And this is basically what you're doing as well. It's not only that you're drawing, that you are coaching them through.
Yeah,
Through the way.
absolutely. Give you a very small example. I was working with a client in Manchester a number of years back, and as part of the conversation, he said, "Oh, I need a room downstairs and a small toilet." I said, "What was that for?" He says, "My mother comes every year, and she lives with us for 6 months, and I just need a WC and a wash and basin
Yeah.
for her." So I'm like, okay, so you're gonna do all this work and you just want a WC? Yeah, so you can use it downstairs. I said, how is her mobility? So it was quite a personal question to ask, but I needed to ask. He said, yeah, she got some knee problems, but yeah, but she's fine. I said, she comes every year. He said, yeah. So how long she spent? 6 months. I say, imagine she continues coming here every single year for 6 months. You doing all this work, and what you're providing her is actually just a WC and a wash and basin. So every day doing the shower and things, she's climbing the staircase. I said, what about having an ensuite there, which is a good size? Because you have the space there, why don't you just put one in? Oh, that makes sense. So I said, I know it makes sense, but could we go ahead and look to do that? He said, yeah, why not? So again, in his head, he's like, she comes in, she stays. Look, somebody comes, 3 days a year or something, thanks. Okay, that's fine. Don't need to worry too much about it. And she's coming and living in the house with you for 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to make sure she's comfortable.
Yeah, that makes the rest comfortable as well.
Absolutely.
Happy family.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. But this is, I can imagine a really tricky question anyway, not only for you to ask, but as well in the family to ask, and even for each person as well to think about what happens if I can't move, if I'm too old, if I'm come to the stage. I remember having this as well when we designed or thought about like how to change properties as well in Germany, barrier free. Like it's a question you, as a child, you are not allowed to ask this question to your parents because they don't want to think about it. They are still young enough to do everything, to rock the world. And this might be true, but there will be a point which it's not in this way anymore, and it's just make things easier, and it doesn't have a barrier-free house or home. Doesn't mean that you have to live like an old person. Just make things easier as well, and like having maybe as well friends who are disabled or something. It makes life easier for everybody you might have in your life.
Yeah. Look, I think it's just asking the right question, asking all the questions, because when I work on a project or it's already been extended, somebody's been already involved on the project number of years back, and they're looking to redo the work in the house. I go like, why was it done this way? And to be honest, the answer which I get is the last person was involved in the job. We told him what we want. He's just done it for us. I'm like, has he not provided you any other suggestions and thing? He says, no. We just said, can we have a room there? He says, yeah. He asked us where you want the window. We said, there. He's drawn it. And I'm like, oh my God. That's heartbreaking for me. Yeah. Whatever question I'm asking, if the person decide not to put an ensuite in, not to have working from home space and things, okay, as long as when I put my head on the pillow, I should not have any regret. Yeah, that is me. Yeah, if I've not done that, I can't sleep properly. And I want to make sure I've told the client each and everything properly and asked them the question. And so again, working with the client, I did not get that job. Spoke to a client, explained, understand all the requirements and so. And I told them saying, look, your kitchen cannot be on this side. The kitchen has to move on all the way around on the other side. And she's like, why? And I explained her all the reasoning behind it. And that time, we were going to the site, like a free consultation on site. Now we do the free consultation over a Teams call. At that time, it was pre-COVID. So I went to her house, spent about 1.5 hours, 2 hours speaking to her, this, that, and gave her lots of design input. Yeah. And I didn't get the project. But later on, I checked what she actually managed to do. The proposal which I've given, okay, she put the kitchen on the other side. Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
I don't know how that came from me or the other person who did the drawings for them and so. I actually emailed them back saying, thank you very much for listening to me, but good luck for the future. Yeah. So I feel I've done the right thing over there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But this is, I'm sure, of course, there's other things as well when the price are coming in. So when the price point is coming in, which brings me to my next question. If you are on a budget, what would be the best extension, in your opinion, at the house? An easy one, low cost, to make a huge difference. What is the best, when I make this, I have the most outcome out of it, and I can make the most value in this, in the house when I am on a budget. If this exists, but
No, it does, but it comes with a compromise. Yeah. So imagine it's a 3 bedroom, typical semi-detached house. Okay. The quick way for you to get the space is convert the garage into habitable space. Yeah. Because all the structure is already there. Only money you're spending in is actually doing the floor, putting one wall in the front, window, insulating that space. Job good. And it's a cost of garage conversion. If it's can vary, say, between £5,000 to £10,000, depends what the size and what you're looking to do on it. So that's a quick win. Yeah. But you lose a big, massive storage from the house. Yeah. So if you have kids and things and you convert the garage, you got nowhere to store the bikes and things. Until unless you have a side alleyway, you have a big shed at the back and things, and you can use those things to store stuff. Fine. So that's one. And second one is actually having a loft conversion. Loft conversion, again, it depends on the size of the property, because to use a loft as a habitable space, yeah, I've seen people have use a loft as a habitable space by cutting a hatch and putting a step ladder. That cannot be counted as a habitable space, because you need a proper regulation staircase which can lead you into the room, and a fire escape on an even a fire, you should be able to come down. You can't rely on a hatch to come down when there's a fire in the house. So that's a big no-no. So this, so answering your question on that is using a loft for so not putting a dome or nothing else, just raising the floor to get the right insulation and the load on it, and insulating the walls and things gives you that space. Okay, but it comes with two things. Is the smallest bedroom in your house is big enough to pinch a little bit more of space to put a standard staircase in it, which goes into the loft? If the answer is no, that means you might potentially lose that first bedroom or the smallest bedroom in the house for you to gain that loft space.
I see.
Okay. But if the property is a good size and the staircase is located in such a way that the other room does not need to be disturbed at all, that's a quick win for you to get the fourth bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, but that depends on property to property. We've done many properties where we don't need to touch any room on the first floor at all, and you're easily able to put a staircase in. Okay, on a tighter properties, yes, you have to take some space from one of the existing room. Okay, or potentially lose a room entirely to provide that staircase.
Interesting. Is there anything on the future-proof properties that we didn't cover today yet, which you want to mention? You think, well, that would be really, really good to think about?
Yeah, getting an outbuilding which falls under the permitted development. Okay, you tick all the boxes for the permitted development. It comes with lots of calculations, can't be more than 50% of your area of the garden and so on. So it needs to be certain meters away from the boundary. It needs to be certain height. As long as you can tick all those boxes. Okay, I've seen lots of people doing those as part of gaining some work from home space or a gym space or spaces. Those are quite there as well in the market, which we can actually do that work for a comparatively much cheaper price than extending your house.
Okay.
So 3 of them: loft conversion, garage conversion, and outbuilding.
Well, you gave me a little bit to think about again, because as I said, like always when you talk, I have this house in mind. I see my my neighbors. So what you can do there? What you can do there? It's just like my mind is a little bit
No,
like flying around when you are talking. So, how would that look? How would that look like? What it would be? That's now ours. So at one point, I will know because you come here and you let me know.
we'll do that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I would say we keep the rest of the questions for for the one or the other post as well. And if you have any questions, like always, you can comment below this video, and looking forward to see you next week. See you.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.